There's a moment the ocean keeps secret. Right before a wave finally breaks, it pulls back. Quiet, almost like hesitation. The surface goes smooth for a breath, as if nothing is happening. And if you didn't know the language of water, you'd think the wave gave up. But the truth is, that pullback is power gathering. That pause is the universe taking a deeper inhale, and somehow, in our lives, the same moment finds us. You don't always recognize it as progress. You recognize it as pressure, as doubt, as that strange, heavy stillness that shows up right before something changes. The kind of stillness that whispers, maybe this isn't working. The kind that makes your hands go cold, your chest tighten, your mind start rehearsing every possible way it could fail. And that's why this video is finding you right now, because you're closer than you think. And the real danger, the real sabotage, isn't that you're not capable. It's that you might freeze at the exact edge where reality is about to rearrange itself for you. And I know how that feels. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it looks normal from the outside. You're still showing up, still doing the tasks, still answering messages, still going to work, still trying. But inside, there's this subtle stutter, a hesitation in your energy, like part of you is walking forward and part of you is reaching back, gripping the past with white knuckles. You tell yourself you're being realistic. You call it being careful. You say you're waiting for the right time, but it's fear wearing a clean shirt. And it often shows up when you're one step away from a breakthrough. Because the closer you get to the door, the louder the old version of you becomes. The version that learned to survive by staying small. The version that learned that disappointment hurts less when you expect it. The version that thinks it's protecting you by slowing you down. So here's what you'll get from staying with me to the end. You'll get clarity about what this moment actually is, so you stop misreading it as a sign to quit. You'll get a shift you can feel in your body, not just a concept in your head. And at the end, I'm going to guide you through a simple, grounded exercise you can do right away to move your energy from almost into done, from maybe into inevitable. And if you feel that quiet knowing that brought you here, do this with me as a small act of co-creation. Subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and in the comments, write the word move. Just that, move, not as a wish, as an assumption, as a signal you're sending to life and a promise you're making to yourself. Because when you declare it, you don't just watch the story, you step into it. Now breathe with me for a second. Not a forced breath, not a performance, just a real breath. And notice something, even right now as you listen, you're choosing, you're selecting, you're focusing your awareness on one thread of reality instead of another. And awareness is never neutral. It doesn't just observe, it participates. That's why your attention matters so much in a breakthrough moment. Because breakthroughs don't always arrive like fireworks. Sometimes they arrive like a soft click in a lock, like a tiny internal shift that makes the outer world finally agree with you. And right before that click, the mind often panics. It says, if this happens, everything changes. If this works, who am I? If I succeed, what will people expect from me? If I finally get what I want, what do I lose? So the mind tries to keep you safe by keeping you familiar. It will offer you distractions that feel urgent. It will manufacture problems that feel important. It will pull you into overthinking, overplanning, rechecking, rewriting, waiting. Freezing doesn't always look like doing nothing. Sometimes freezing looks like doing everything, except the one thing that would actually move you forward. You clean up the details. You adjust the colors. You reread the email 12 times. You research more. You ask for one more opinion. You tell yourself you're being responsible, but your energy knows the truth. Because deep down, you can feel it. You're not stuck because you're incapable. You're stuck because you're standing at the edge of a new identity, and part of you is afraid to cross. Let me paint it clearly. Imagine you've been walking through a long hallway holding a candle. You've made it this far by protecting the flame, by keeping it small enough to manage, by shielding it from wind, from judgment, from sudden movement. But now, you're at the end of the hallway, and ahead of you is an open room filled with air, wide space, higher ceilings, bigger echoes. If you step into that room, the flame doesn't just stay a flame. It becomes a torch. It becomes visible. It becomes undeniable, and that's thrilling. But it's also terrifying if you're still identifying as the person who survived by being unseen. So right before the breakthrough, the body reacts. Your stomach tightens, your throat closes, your shoulders lift, your breathing gets shallow, your heart speeds up. That's not a sign you're doing it wrong. That's the nervous system meeting expansion, because the body is honest. It doesn't speak in motivational quotes, it speaks in sensation, and sensation is where your real work is. Here's what most people do in this moment. They interpret discomfort as danger. They say, "This feels weird, so it must be wrong. This feels scary, so I should stop. This feels uncertain, so I should wait." But breakthroughs don't come wrapped in certainty. They come wrapped in frequency. And your job is to hold the frequency long enough for reality to reorganize around it. Think about a tuning fork. If you strike it in a quiet room, it hums softly at first. And if there's another tuning fork across the room tuned to the same note, it starts to hum too. Not because you touched it, not because you forced it, because harmony is contagious. Your inner state works the same way. When you sustain a clear note inside you, clear intention, clear identity, clear expectation, life begins to resonate with it. People respond differently. Opportunities appear, ideas land, timing shifts. Things that felt locked suddenly open, and in the exact moment life starts to match you. The old self can panic, because the old self doesn't fear failure as much as it fears change. If this is landing in your chest right now, and you want more messages that steady your energy instead of feeding your doubt, subscribe to the channel. Consider it your way of staying close to the frequency you're building, so it tries to freeze you. And freezing is seductive because it looks like control. If you freeze, you can pretend you're safe. You can pretend you're not risking anything. You can keep your heart from being fully on the line. But you already know that's not safety. That's slow suffocation. So let's talk about the moment you're in. It might feel like nothing is happening, like the universe is quiet, like doors aren't opening fast enough, like you've been doing the work and it's still not here. But what if the quiet isn't absence? What if the quiet is alignment? What if the stillness is the exact space where the next version of you is forming? Because transformation has a pattern. First, you want it. Then you fear it. Then you resist it. Then you get tired of resisting. Then you surrender into it. Then it becomes normal. Then you wonder why you ever doubted. And the part most people don't pass is the fear and resistance phase. They turn around right before the sunrise because the night got cold. So let's warm the truth back into your system. If you're one step away from a breakthrough, you might notice certain signs. You're unusually sensitive. Little things hit harder than normal. You're tempted to isolate, even though you need connection. You're tempted to numb, even though you need presence. You're tempted to sabotage your routine, even though your routine is what's holding your new frequency steady. You're tempted to pick fights, start drama, create chaos, because chaos feels like a reason to delay. And you may start thinking, maybe I should stop. Maybe I'm not ready. Let me tell you something gently but clearly. You are not freezing because you're not ready. You're freezing because you are ready. And the old version of you is negotiating for one more season of familiarity. That's all. This is not punishment. This is initiation. And initiation doesn't feel like being congratulated. It feels like being tested. Not by life, by your own coherence. Coherence is when your thoughts, your emotions, your body, and your choices all point in the same direction. When you say you want love, but you keep choosing absence, that's incoherence. When you say you want abundance, but you keep rehearsing scarcity, that's incoherence. When you say you want freedom, but you keep obeying the old story. That's incoherence. And incoherence creates static. It delays the click in the lock. But when you become coherent, the world becomes responsive, not instantly like magic tricks, responsively like physics, like a mirror, like a law. So what do we do when we're at the edge and the body wants to freeze? We don't fight the fear. We alchemize it. Because fear is not the enemy. Fear is raw power without direction. It's energy asking to be transmuted. And the element that transmutes it is love. Not the soft, romantic kind, the fierce kind, the kind that tells the truth, the kind that chooses the future anyway. Love is what says, I can feel this and still move. I can be nervous and still act. I can be uncertain and still decide. So I want you to picture this. Right now, somewhere in your life, there is one step you've been circling, one action, one conversation, one decision, one commitment, one boundary, one offer, one application, one post, one message, one I'm ready. And it doesn't even have to be big, it just has to be real. The breakthrough is not always a giant leap. Sometimes it's a clean step. And the reason it matters is because clean steps change identity. Identity is the quiet engine behind everything. You don't get what you want by wanting it harder. You get what you want by becoming the kind of person who expects it, holds it, and moves like it's normal. That's why freezing is so dangerous. Because freezing is an identity choice. Freezing says, I'm still the person who waits. Freezing says, I'm still the person who needs permission. Freezing says, I'm still the person who stops when it gets intense. But moving, even gently, moving says something else. Moving says, I trust the version of me that's arriving. Moving says, I don't need to see the whole staircase to take the next step. Moving says, I am the one who decides what this moment means. Now let's get very practical, very human. There are two kinds of pressure. There's pressure that crushes, and there's pressure that reveals. When you're one step away from a breakthrough, pressure reveals what's still misaligned inside you. It reveals the hidden beliefs you didn't know you were carrying, like, if I succeed, I'll be alone. If I shine, people will judge me. If I receive, I'll owe something. If I relax, something will go wrong. If it's not hard, it's not real. These beliefs live in the body like old programs, and the moment you're about to step into new territory, they light up. Not to stop you forever, to be cleared. That's why it feels intense. So instead of making the intensity mean stop, we make it mean release. Instead of freezing, we soften. Instead of collapsing, we stabilize. Because the future you want isn't asking you to be perfect, it's asking you to be steady. Steady doesn't mean loud confidence. Steady means you keep choosing the same direction, even when your feelings change. And feelings will change. Some days you'll feel powerful. Some days you'll feel like a child in a storm. Some days you'll feel clear. Some days your mind will be a crowded room. But direction is not a mood. Direction is a decision. Let me give you an image. Imagine your life is a lantern. When you're incoherent, the lantern flickers. It still has light, but it's unstable. It throws strange shadows. It makes you question what's real. But when you become coherent, the lantern becomes steady. The flame stands tall. The light becomes clean. The shadows dissolve. And then you can see. You can see what to do next. You can see who to say no to. You can see what you've been tolerating. You can see where you've been leaking energy. You can see the opportunity you kept calling luck. And in that clarity, you move. So if you're here and you feel like you've been hovering, I want you to stop negotiating with your own future. Stop calling the breakthrough someday. Stop treating your next level like a distant mountain. It's not distant, it's one step. And the reason it's one step is because your life doesn't transform all at once. It transforms at the point of decision. The moment you decide, the field changes, your posture changes, your tone changes, your timing changes. Even if nothing outside has shifted yet, something inside has clicked. And when something inside clicks, the outside starts rearranging. not because you begged it, because you matched it. Now listen closely. The freeze impulse is often the ego trying to keep its job. The ego doesn't care if you're happy. It cares if it can predict. It cares if it can control the narrative. It cares if it can stay in familiar pain rather than risk unfamiliar joy. So when you're about to break through, the ego will throw a final performance. It will bring up old memories. It will replay old failures. It will compare you to others. It will whisper, "Who do you think you are?" It will point out timing, money, age, history, mistakes. And the most dangerous part is, it will sound like you. But it's not the real you. It's the echo of who you used to be. The real you doesn't speak in panic. The real you speaks in calm knowing. And even if it's quiet, it's there. So here's a question. What if this moment isn't asking you to feel fearless? What if it's asking you to feel everything and still move? Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that fear doesn't get to drive. And that's what we're building right now, a new driver, a new center, a new frequency. You don't have to force it. You don't have to fake it. You don't have to scream affirmations at the mirror until your throat hurts. You just have to become consistent with what you say you want. And that consistency is built in small, sacred actions. The way you answer the text, the way you keep your promise to yourself, the way you show up when no one applauds, the way you stop entertaining the old story, the way you rest without guilt, the way you create without waiting to be perfect. Breakthroughs aren't earned by intensity. They're invited by integrity. Integrity is when you're whole, when you're not split in two. And that wholeness is magnetic. Now, I want to guide you into the part where you stop listening and start embodying. Not later, not tomorrow, now. Because the mind loves later. Later is the ego's favorite hiding place. So we're going to bring the energy into your hands, your breath, your voice, your choices. And as we do, I want you to remember that you don't need to push the universe. You need to stop pulling against it. You don't need to force the breakthrough. You need to stop freezing at the threshold. So let's move into a simple moment of action, right here, right now, in a way that feels grounded, human, and real. Let your shoulders drop a little. Let your jaw unclench. And feel the space in your chest, even if it's small. Now imagine the version of you who already broke through. Not a fantasy version, not a perfect version, a real version. The version of you who took the step, had the conversation, made the decision, hit publish, sent the message, applied, left, started, returned, forgave, chose, committed. That version of you is not made of different material. Same heart, same nervous system, same history. The difference is one thing. That version of you didn't freeze. So here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to settle your energy into coherence, because a shaky signal gets shaky results. Put one hand on your chest and one hand lower around the center of your belly. Just hold yourself like you mean it, like you're not abandoning yourself in the moment that matters, and breathe slower than your mind wants to. In through your nose, gently, and out through your mouth, like you're fogging a window. Do that again. In and out. And as you breathe, imagine you're smoothing the surface of a lake. Your thoughts can still exist, but the water is becoming calm. And in that calm, your signal gets clear. This is how you tell life, without words, I'm stable enough to receive. Next, we're going to name the step, because freezing thrives in vagueness. In your mind, say the simplest, most honest sentence, my next step is, and fill it in. Don't make it poetic, make it practical. My next step is sending the email. My next step is setting the boundary. My next step is posting the offer. My next step is booking the appointment. My next step is practicing for 30 minutes. My next step is asking for help. My next step is saying no. Let it be plain. Let it be clear. And now notice what your body does when you name it. Maybe it tightens. Maybe it wants to bargain. Maybe it wants to distract. That's okay. You're not here to obey that reaction. You're here to witness it and stay in the driver's seat. Because when you name the step, you collapse confusion into decision. You go from fog to form. Finally, we're going to seal it with a small action and an identity statement because the world responds to who you are being, not what you are hoping. Choose a tiny action you can do today that belongs to the breakthrough. Tiny, but real. Open the draft, write the first line, put the shoes by the door, send the first message, clear the space, make the call, set the timer. It doesn't have to be the whole mountain. It has to be the next stone. And as you commit to that small action, say this to yourself, softly but firmly. I am the kind of person who moves. Not I will, not I try. I am. Let your system feel the difference. When you speak from identity, your energy stops arguing. It starts aligning. Now, pause and feel what just happened. Nothing dramatic, no lightning, no fireworks. But something shifted. You went from being chased by the moment to holding the moment. You went from waiting for certainty to creating coherence. And that is the doorway. That is the threshold. This is why I said this video would find you at the right time, because you don't need 1,000 signs. You need one decision, and you're making it now. So here's what I want you to do when this video ends. Don't let the inspiration evaporate into scrolling. Don't turn this into a beautiful idea that never becomes a lived reality. Do the small action today. And if your mind says, it won't matter, remember this. The breakthrough doesn't begin with the big result. It begins with the moment you stop freezing. It begins when you teach your nervous system gently and repeatedly, we can move and still be safe. We can expand and still be loved. We can be seen and still belong. We can receive and still stay grounded, because you're not here to survive your life. You're here to inhabit it. And the life that's calling you isn't calling the version of you who hesitates at the door. It's calling the version of you who turns the handle. So take a breath, feel your feet, and remember the word you wrote earlier. Move, not as pressure, not as panic, as power. And if you want to anchor it deeper, leave a second comment with the words, I don't freeze. Simple, clear. A vow to your future. Stay close to this channel if you want more of this kind of guidance, because we're not just talking about change here. We're becoming it, one clean step at a time. And if you're ready to keep walking this path with me, subscribe to the channel so these reminders find you exactly when you need them. And remember this, because it's the truth. Your breakthrough isn't far away. It's one step away. Don't freeze now.